Today, we're diving into the buzz around the benefits of taking a break from drinking alcohol and instead drinking non alcoholic drinks or mocktails, but also talk a little bit about the drinks that are infused with adaptogens. If you've been keeping an eye on wellness trends, you know adaptogens in drinks are all the rage. These drinks promise everything from stress reduction to hormone balance, making them sound like the unsung heroes we've been waiting for. But we're asking today, are they really that healthy, or is it all just hype? We also find out about the reasons we drink alcohol and steps to navigate those reasons with concrete steps that you can take if you want to reduce your alcohol consumption, and dive into why you're drinking, not just for pleasure, but other reasons that we'll address today. So let's find out what is Sober October and how the heck did it get started. Sober October started as a fundraising campaign in Australia and the UK, also known as October with a Z, to raise awareness about the health risks of excessive drinking. It began as a fundraising campaign to support different charitable organizations. The name of Sober October is credited to the Macmillan Cancer Support Group, a UK-based cancer charity. The campaign mainly focuses on raising awareness about the health risks associated with excessive drinking, including liver disease, cancer, and other long-term issues. It's no joke. It's a way for people to reset their relationship with alcohol, evaluate its role in our lives, and perhaps adopt healthier habits moving forward. Well, it's ironic that Sober October is in the month of actually September, October, where we're celebrating the Oktoberfest in Munich, a big beer fest known all around the world for its tents, its traditional outfits, its rum-tum-tum music, and its ginormous 2-liter beer mugs. There is a lot of drinking, but there's also a lot of partying going on, and some of the pictures after the Oktoberfest, each day, the Oktoberfest starts in the afternoon, each day for about 2 weeks, and goes on, I don't remember what time, but it goes into the evening, and the remnants of that drinking night do not look pretty when you look around the fields of the Oktoberfest, but it is a tradition, and it started with the wedding of one of the crown princes in Bavaria. So that's all I want to tell about this story. So the reasons why we drink. Many enjoy a good glass of wine or beer after a hard day at work, and because we want to de-stress. But we might drink more than we anticipate. We want to pat ourselves on the back for a great job done. We want to de-stress. And so we end up out of this one glass, it's maybe 2 glasses or even more. We enjoy alcohol to bond with others or relax at social gathering. It's like a way to celebrate or feel closer to your friends and traditions. How many times have you said to your girlfriend, hey, let's meet up for a drink. Let's meet up for happy hour. Let's grab a bottle of wine. It is not uncommon that this is a social bond that we go to first. For whatever reason, we've been taught this, that this is a way to socialize instead of thinking of other things, which I'll talk about later in this episode. Some people turn to alcohol when they're depressed and feeling down. It can temporarily make them feel better or help them unwind after a tough day. Everybody, or I would say most everybody, including myself, had a broken heart, or had my heart broken, I should say. And boy, I emptied that bottle of wine faster than you can say hello. And it helped me numb my pain for a little while. But it was not the way to go to deal with this breakup. Alcohol can make you feel good by changing your brain chemistry, like with the stories I just told you. This can lead to wanting more of it, so we feel happy, we feel relaxed, and sometimes it turns into a habit or a craving that is the solution. If I feel bad, if I want to celebrate, if I want to meet up, this is what I'm going to do. I'm drinking. Not always excessively, but that's the first go-to. So got to go back into our habits when we evaluate this. Taking a month off, like for instance, like we talked today, the sober October can be a double-edged sword for women in midlife. On one hand, it offers a break and a chance to reset by drinking mocktails or mocktails with adaptogen as an alcoholic replacement. But you might think you're taking a break from a habit. But on the other hand, it can create a false sense of control, leading some of us to believe they've mastered their drinking habits, they know exactly when to stop, only to revert back to old patterns when the month is over. This cycle can be an emotional roller coaster, causing highs from the initial success and then down the dumps when the old habits resurface. A temporary break often sidesteps the root emotional or psychological issues that lead to this excessive drinking in the first place. So while a month off is a step in the right direction, it is crucial to approach it as a starting point for a deeper self-exploration rather than a complete solution. Now, I mentioned this in the intro. There's many health risks associated for drinking too much, especially for women. Excessive alcohol consumption can pose several health risks for women as we age. And we're here in midlife, and we are also beyond midlife, some of our listeners. Prolonged heavy drinking can lead to liver disease. Even moderate alcohol intake is associated with increased risk of breast cancer, a more pronounced concern in postmenopausal women, though. Heart health can also be compromised with alcohol contributing to high blood pressure and heart disease. A study by M. Stamfer et al. In 1988 suggests that among middle-aged women, moderate alcohol consumption decreases the risk of coronary heart disease and ischemic stroke, but may increase the risk of subarachnoid hemorrhage. Mental health may suffer as alcohol can worsen or trigger depression and anxiety. Additionally, the immune system can weaken, bone health may be affected, and hormonal imbalances can occur. A study by M. Hernandez Avila et al. In 1991 suggests that caffeine and alcohol consumption increases the risk of osteoporotic fractures in middle-aged women. These risks underscore the importance of moderation or reduction in alcohol consumption, especially for women in midlife. So these two studies directly relate to what we're talking about today. And I'll leave a link for you in the show notes to check out those studies. You heard me mention the word adaptogens now a couple of times. So what are adaptogens? Adaptogens are natural substances, often herbs or mushrooms, used for centuries in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine to help the body adapt to stress. These unique compounds, including ginseng, ashwagandha, rhodiola rosea, are believed to tailor their effects to your body's needs. In other words, they adapt to help you cope with physical, chemical, and biological stresses. While the concept of adaptogens has ancient roots, it's gaining modern tradition as people increasingly seek natural ways to manage stress and improve overall well-being. Scientific research on adaptogens is still in its infancy here in the West, with some studies suggesting potential benefits and others calling for more investigation. So let's dive into these drinks that are fused or infused with adaptogens. Are they worth the hype? The trend of incorporating adaptogens into non-alcoholic beverages is part of a larger movement towards, and air quoting, hear this, functional drinks, those that offer more than just hydration. These adaptogen-infused beverages are designed to deliver the purported health benefits of those ancient herbs in a convenient and tasty format. They often marketed with claims ranging from stress relief and energy boost to cognitive enhancement and general wellness. It's also worth noting that individual reactions to adaptogens can vary, and are not a substitute for a balanced diet, exercise, and appropriate medical care. So here are 6 non-alcoholic alternatives to get you through Sober October. There's a growing market, of course, for non-alcoholic alternatives to alcoholic drinks, often referred to as mocktails, non-alcoholic spirits, alcohol-free beer, alcohol-free wine. These are designed to provide the flavor and complexity of alcoholic beverages without the alcohol content itself. So here's some alternatives that you might choose. One is kombucha. This fermented tea is an excellent alternative to beer or wine. It has tangy, effervescence quality, and comes in different flavors. Plus, it's rich in probiotics, which are good for our gut health. So do something good for your gut. Herbal teas. You may opt for a calming tea like chamomile or lavender in the evening when you're stressed and you need to chill out. For a more refreshing option, try ginger or peppermint tea. These can be served hot or iced depending on the season. Here also is coconut water. For those who miss the tropical taste of a cocktail, coconut water can be an excellent refreshing substitute. It's hydrating, contains essential electrolytes, making it a really healthy choice, also very hydrating. You can make a mocktail with fresh fruit. Very simple and effective. All you do is add slices of fresh fruit, strawberries, cucumbers, or whatever, citrus fruits, whatever you like, to sparkling water. Again, it's hydrating and it's a great replacement instead of a soda or a sugary cocktail that you get at the bar. Alcohol-free wines. These are made by fermenting grapes as with red wine, but then removing the alcohol via a process that's called spinning cone column distillation, spinning cone column distillation. They should retain much of the flavor of the wine, although the lack of alcohol can affect the mouthfeel or the aroma in wine. And then, of course, there's alcohol-free beers. They are made similarly to regular beers, but the alcohol is removed. And at the end of the brewing process, through methods like vacuum distillation or reverse osmosis, they contain ingredients like barley, hops, yeast, and water. And barley and hops are, again, healthy, especially barley. However, as with all food and drink products, it's essential to read the label and understand what you consume. While mocktails and non-alcoholic drinks are popular alternatives to alcoholic beverages, they come with a drawback. These can include high sugar content, which poses a health risk, like weight gain and diabetes, and artificial additives that some people prefer to avoid, and I'm one of those. Additionally, the taste may only partially satisfy those who enjoy traditional wines and beers. Cost can also be a factor, as non-alcoholic versions or the trendy sparkling non-alcoholic aperitifs often require more processing. Lastly, it's worth noting that some of those drinks may still contain trace amounts of alcohol. So when I go back to the non-alcoholic aperitifs that are being marketed right now, they are so geared to women. They look soothing, they look relaxing. The ads are also, oh, I'm having such a good time. Look how happy I am. And I'm drinking this little concoction. And oftentimes they say, no artificial flavor, none of this, no alcohol, soothing. But you never know how much of those adaptogens are really in that drink. And I did some research on the drinks, and they were really expensive for a little drink. So is it really that healthy, or might you go back to my 6 non-alcoholic alternatives that are way cheaper and way more satisfying, like the coconut water or the kombucha or the herbal tea? I dare to think so. I don't feel like I want to spend a ton of money on something that makes it so appealing and so relaxing. And I go back into my head, I see how they market these drinks Women sitting together, having a great time instead of a glass of red wine like we used to see. Now they're drinking these new drinks that cost a ton of money. You can have a good time, you can have a blast with your friends, not spending a ton of money, and still have a great time and don't miss out on alcohol. So let's talk about the solutions for for why we're drinking and what triggers us to drink. We're talking also about social pressure and how to break the alcohol habit. As we navigate the complexities of midlife, from hormonal shifts to changing family dynamics, it's not uncommon to lean on alcohol as a coping mechanism. However, reducing alcohol consumption can be a transformative step towards a healthier and more balanced lifestyle. Let's identify the triggers. First, it is super important to do the work, as I like to call it. Instead of saying, yeah, whatever, I know, it's stress, really dive into what it is. Consider keeping a drinking diary to spot patterns or using mindfulness techniques to become aware of your emotional state. When did you drink? Here's a quick mindfulness technique that can be a game changer when you reach for the glass of wine or cocktail. It's called the stop technique, and that's how it works. S-T-O-P. Stop. The S. The moment you feel like you want to drink, just stop what you're doing, take a pause. Become mindful of what it is that you're about to do and why you reach for a glass of wine. Let's just use the wine or the mocktail. Then T stands for take a breath. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a few seconds, and then exhale fully. Fill the lungs and then release it. So you stop, you pay attention. Why am I drinking? You take a pause, you wait. After you breathe, is it still something you want? Then on the O, you observe your thoughts and feelings. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Am I lonely? Stressed? Bored? Is that why I grab a drink? And P is for proceed. Finally, proceed with awareness. Decide whether you still want to drink or if there's a healthier way to cope with your feelings. I think the stop method or technique is such a great way to start tuning in why we grab the drink. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Even if you fail the first several times around and you stop at the stop and then you go, okay, heck, I want to drink. It's your choice, but there's steps you can take. This technique takes less than a minute, but can make a difference in helping you become aware of why you're reaching for that drink. Give it a try next time you feel the urge and see how it works for you. When we talk about social pressure, let's dive into a strategy for handling social pressure, which can be a big obstacle when we try to cut back from alcohol. And this is called the PrEP technique, P-R-E-P. And it's all about being prepared. P, plan ahead. Before you go to any social event where alcohol will be served, make a plan. Decide how many drinks you'll have, if any, and stick to it. That's the plan. This is what we're going to do. Then you may want to recruit the help of a friend. Find a friend or bring a friend with you, could be your husband, wife, or significant others, who also wants to cut back on alcohol. And you can be each other's accountability partner during the event. And you know what? Trust me, there's strength in numbers. When you're like saying, hey, I just had a drink, and you said, yep, we decided to stick to one drink, and you were about to grab that second drink, you probably think, oh, heck, I have to tell him or her. I'd rather not. Let's go for the non-alcoholic. And besides, I don't really need it. I'm having a great time. E stands for establish an alternative. Choose a non-alcoholic drink you enjoy and make that your go-to for the evening. If you like a mocktail, go for that. This way, you'll have something to hold and sip and make it easier to avoid alcohol. We all know when we stand at parties and we have nothing in our hands. Oftentimes, we grab the drink or we grab the chips and dip just to have something in our hands. So if you have your little non alcoholic wine, to use it for an example, you have something in your hands so you don't feel so lost. So, what am I going to do with my hands? Can't put them in my pockets. That's rude. So, keep that in mind. P is prepare a script. Have a few lines ready when someone offers you a drink. It could be as simple as, I'm good. I'm not going to drink. I'm good with my sparkling water today. Or, I'm taking it easy tonight. I'm fine. Thank you very much. Using the prep technique, you'll be better equipped to navigate social situations without succumbing to the pressure to drink. It's all about setting yourself up for success. Now, ladies, doesn't it sound familiar? All of these things I talk about all the time, and the Spark method is one of them too. It has similar steps named a little bit differently, but it's all about being prepared, being ready. Know what you're saying, know what you're doing, being aware and mindful. And mindfulness is such a big part of how we achieve our goals, how we achieve what we want to do in our second half of life. And so keep these steps in mind. You may want to re-listen to the episode and write down those steps in your own words, or just write the words, step, prep, to associate your next actions when it comes to breaking the drinking habit. So now let's talk about breaking the drinking habit, because let's face it, habits are hard to break, pun intended. Oftentimes we're told, oh, if you practice a habit for 6 weeks, I should say, it will stick. That's not always true. It's just breaking the surface. If you have a habit of drinking for the past 20 years, you're not going to break this in 6 weeks. Let's be real. But I got a technique for you that I like to call swap. And this technique may be a great way to start your new habits. The S stands for substitute. The first step is to find a substitute that brings you joy. Instead of after the glass of wine or beer after work, how about changing it to a cup of herbal tea or a brisk walk? It is so soothing to sit with a cup of warm tea and letting your mind unwind. Or go for a walk. It makes you feel better to be active because you've been sitting all day. You got this. W is write down goals. Set achievable, specific goals for yourself. Instead of saying, I'll drink less, which is non-specific, say, I'll only have 1 drink per week. Write these down and put them somewhere so you are reminded of what your drinking goal is. A, acknowledge achievements. Celebrate your alcohol-free days with non-alcoholic drinks or with a workout, whether it's a small treat or just a form of a gold star. Now that sounds like child's play, but it is. If you give yourself a gold star, you know, I've made it again. I've worked on my habit. Acknowledge your achievements will boost your motivation. P stands for prepare your pitch. And here we go again. When you're out with friends and families or coworkers, be prepared to articulate why you're not drinking. A simple, I'm cutting back for my health, usually does the trick. Trust me, most people won't make a big deal out of it, because when you take care of your health, they think of what they could do better as well. So there you have it, the swap technique, your roadmap to making more mindful choices about alcohol. Give it a try and see how it transforms your relationships with alcohol. Now, I have a fantastic resource for you here. And that was our podcast episode with Molly Watts, Changing Your Alcohol Habits. And I leave a link in the show note for you so you can listen to this episode. And it ties in perfectly what we're talking about, Sober October. Now, Of course, we have to talk about exercise, and exercise can play a significant role in helping you reduce or manage excessive drinking, especially in midlife, where we are already navigating so many life changes. Number one is stress relief. Of course, we talk so much about stress relief. Some stress is good, but too much stress, we got to figure out how to reduce the stress. One of the main reasons people turn to alcohol is stress or eating. In our context, we talk about the Sober October and exercise. Exercise is an excellent stress reliever, and it releases endorphins, which make you improve your mood and reduce the risk of drinking. Who wants to have a big beer after a run or a glass of wine or whatever it is that you love to drink? So when I used to be able to run not too long ago, my stress relief was running. If I had something I need to figure out to do or get rid of, I went for a run. I had to find a different way, so now I'm walking really fast to reduce my stress. Time management. The time we're spending exercising is a time spent not drinking. It's a simple equation, but an effective one. If you're busy with a workout, you're less likely to drink excessively. You're not sitting around wasting your time. Okay, here, this is funny. It just popped into my head. Wasting away in Margaritaville. Everybody heard that song. So we're not, because we're using our time to exercise. And sleep is a big one. Many people use alcohol to fall asleep, which often leads to even worse sleep quality. Exercise can help enhance your sleep, reducing again the need to rely on alcohol to feel better. And it's also, regular exercise is a self-esteem boost, and a body image issue that you may have is worked off by exercising, which can be particularly empowering for women in midlife. This boosts in self-esteem. While you're exercising, you feel good, you sweat. You can trigger emotional triggers that, or reduce those triggers that lead to excessive alcohol drinking. So you feel good about yourself. You just sweat. Well, I like to sweat. Some people don't, but you feel your muscles working, you're breathing, and you're out in the fresh air perhaps. It is such a boost, and you feel proud of yourself that you went out for your walk or your hike or you did your weight training, whatever it is. But regular exercise is so important. Exercise also can be a healthy alternative to alcohol when dealing with emotional or psychological challenges. Instead of reaching for that drink, run, do Pilates can be a way healthier way to cope. It is, I have to say, it will be a little harder to change that habit and say, the habit is I'm having a drink. And instead, put on your running shoes or walking shoes or put your Pilates mat out. But it can be done. I've already laid out the first steps for you. Find a group exercise class or fitness community can help you feel that you belong to somebody, and they could be your accountability partner, which is especially helpful if you want to reduce alcohol consumption. And it's always good to have a group. Like I used to have my Montgomery County Roadrunners running group that would, and I've mentioned this story before, that when I ran, we started usually at 7, first break a day with our runs, and you had to be there half an hour, 15, 20 minutes earlier to get ready and figure out your pace group. And I was coaching, and people were like looking for me. And boy, if I didn't show up, did I get booed out? Like, where were you? Didn't show up. What happened? What's your excuse? Not to make me feel bad, all in a good, fun way, but I was like, I better be showing up to do the exercise or coach it, because as a coach, I'm their role model, and I definitely want to help out with that. So for the resource for this one is how to make exercise a habit, is another episode at 1:30 that you might want to listen in to get inspired, get encouraged that it can be done, that you can be in charge of your alcohol consumption with simple steps. And there's nothing wrong with having a drink every now and again. But think about the health risks. Think about the steps I outlaid for you, or laid out, I should say. The swap step, the prep step, the stop step are all good ways to wrap your head around what you can do differently when it comes to alcohol.